TF2 Hunt. Try your luck on jackpot. Or join coin flips with the lowest commissions. Get a chance of winning free money daily by participating in our giveaways. TF2Hunt.com, the #1 place to gamble your Team Fortress items.
High fives are cool, dude. There's just something about slapping another person's hand that really razzes my berries, you know? And the best part is, Team Fortress 2 lets you do it to other players, letting you extend an open palm of friendship to just about anyone. At least that's what it's supposed to do. A lot of people just decide they want to use it to see around quarters, you dirty cheaters. My point is, you can slap other people's hands in TF2, and to me that's kick-ass. But not everybody wants to give you a high five. Some people leave you hanging, and, well, some people even want to hang you. So I had to ask myself, what are the actual chances that you'd get a high five from any given player in a match? What is more likely, getting some skin, being left hanging, or getting yourself killed? Since I have nothing better to do with my life, I decided to find out. Now, how the hell am I going to get these statistics? I have failed every stats class I've ever taken, so it's enough to say I'm no accountant. But I do know at least something about experiment design instead of my taxes. So that means we need diverse enough samples of all the types of people that play TF2. We also need to isolate them in a way that there is little to no consequence for accepting a high five and little to no benefit from killing me. So that if a player is walking through some pathway and happens to stumble upon me standing there with my pants down, they will do one of 3 things. Give me 5, mop the floor with me, or just plain keep walking. And so, my life was nothing but high fives for a solid month. So let's fast forward to a week ago when I finished. Partially stopping because I felt I had a large enough sample size, but mostly stopping because I was bored and I figured I should probably get on with my life. I played 52 games, and all I did for those 52 games was run to a random corner of the map and stand there in the high five pose, waiting for some Goldilocks to come skipping by and try my porridge. Which was either one of 3 things: too hot, too cold, or just right. Now, I was strictly doing this sort of research in casual, because every time I tried doing it on a community server, all I got was this. So, fun, yeah, but not really what I'm looking for. At my count, I proposed a high five to 510 enemy players. And while yes, I did get quite a few from my own team, all I'm really interested in here are the people who have the power to reject me in the most obvious way possible. Of those 510 people, 146 gave me a high five, 248 of them left me hanging, and 116 of them decided to rid the world of the burden known as ArraySeven. So generally speaking, at any time playing Team Fortress 2, the average likelihood of getting a high five from any given player at any given point is 28.6%. There's also a 22.7% chance that standing in front of somebody with your hand held up is going to get you violently murdered. But the most likely thing of all to happen is you're going to get ignored, with a 48.6% likelihood. Well, it's not pretty, but it's a metric nonetheless. Truth be told, I expected this number to be a lot higher, but I'm totally okay with getting ignored at the end of the day. One less trip back to spawn, am I right? I also ran into this problem when counting the people that ignored me, because the same people that high-fived me would come across me again later, and then just keep on walking. I suppose not many people want to waste too much of their time giving high fives to people, so basically each player got one chance to make that decision. I did my best to keep track of who had already done it and who hasn't, but I'm not perfect. Now those percentages are great and all, but that doesn't really tell us anything interesting. What would be great is if we had more detailed measurements about what classes were most likely to do what, and what classes evoked what kind of response. Now, keep your shoes on, because I kept fantastic records of everything, because nothing is more exciting than bureaucracy. Of the 9 classes, you are the most likely to get a high five as a medic, engineer, sniper, and, well, let's just say people love heavies. On the flip side, the one class that an overwhelming percentage of people decided to flat out obliterate was the spy. Ain't nobody slapping spy. Well, what would the top be without the bottom? Of the classes that decided to give me some skin, you are the most likely to be high-fived by demo men, soldiers, and heavies. The highest chances of getting killed come from pyro and spy. And the classes that spent the most time ignoring me were soldier, medic, and engineer. What we can see from this information is an interesting trend. The classes that are generally considered the least dangerous in a one-on-one fight, although the jury's still out on this one, are the classes that get the most high fives and by extension the best response out of enemy players. But way overshadowing this trend is Heavy, who has an overwhelming amount of high fives, even more than the amount of people that ignored him. Now, I would like to attribute this to the fact that most friendlies decide to choose the Heavy class for one reason or another, because he for sure doesn't follow the least dangerous in a fight rule. As far as I'm concerned, that minigun can shred your ass like gas station toilet paper. But it goes a bit farther than that. We can also see that a Heavy player is also the most likely to high-five you back, and I actually thought that was pretty funny. Maybe it's playing what is essentially TF2's Russian mascot that just makes people want to chill out for a bit. I don't know, but I felt it was ironic how this cold and calculating killing machine is being played like a giant teddy bear. It's poetic, I gotta say. Now, if you told me that most people were ready to obliterate pretty much every spy they come across on sight, I would ask you if you've ever played this game. It was a bloodbath. Almost everyone wiped that French smirk off the face of the earth in an instant. I don't blame them, but it was really, really funny. Of all the classes, the Spy is probably the one to take advantage of you both ignoring him or high-fiving him. So, what else are you supposed to do? What was also interesting about the Spy, though, is that of the classes that did the most of the killing, the Spy was public enemy number 1. And I guess the Pyro was public enemy number 1, too. My theory here being that both of these classes are pretty popular among newer players, and for someone who doesn't yet understand the sort of things that happen in this game, it's just easier to shoot first and ask questions never. It's hard to say. Maybe it just feels good to get another kill whether you earned it or not, though I'm sure the same could be said for all the rest of the classes too. Great, now of all things, a pie chart's gonna keep me awake at night. At the end of the day though, what really gets me is this talk-to-the-hand attitudes engineers seem to have. Most of them just walked right on by, busy little bees on a mission to take care of the hive. You don't bother them, they won't bother you. Well, until they build a machine specifically designed to bother you, then there's trouble. I get it though, when you have kids to take care of, a high five is pretty low on your priority list. Technically, medics ignored me a lot too, but come on, I understand a little bit more with them. As a medic main, I personally find myself a hell of a lot busier than when I'm an engineer. Sure, I'm probably going to get a lot of hell from the Dane mains out there from that statement, but whatever, it's what I think, who cares? Now, there are plenty of more places to go with this experiment. For one, I could study the effects having unusuals or fancy cosmetics would have on these numbers, or their correlation with the map that was being played at the time, or maybe even if it was multiple players in the high five pose. But if I'm being honest, I'm completely sick of doing this now. And while I'm afraid I might have ruined high fives for myself forever, it was fun to see the numbers. But if nothing else, this whole experiment filled me with a sense of, dare I say it, pride? It's almost like TF2 is just a friendly game in general, and there aren't many other shooters out there where you can come across someone who's just interested in saying hi. It just goes to show that your average player doesn't really take this game that seriously, and is totally up for wasting a few seconds of killing to have some goofy fun. TF2 just naturally causes those sort of player interactions, and I don't think you can get this sort of thing anywhere else, which might also explain how we've gotten to this point. But if I'm being honest, I think deep down none of us would have it any other way.
I'm the invincible, undefeated champion. Mount Zion's my ancestors, Camp Lions. Star of David, nah, the thought of stardom. Martyrdom and done crumbs left to the dumb thumb. To this play button, glutton of words.